In the heart of the Syrian sands, where whispers of the past linger in the wind, lies a forgotten city, Ebla. A symphony of ancient stones, it once resonated with the vibrant chords of a civilization lost to the ages. As we embark on this cinematic odyssey, the winds of time carry us back to an era when Ebla stood as a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. The very stones beneath our feet whisper tales of triumph and tragedy, of a people who sculpted dreams from the rugged reality of the desert. Immerse yourself in the echoes of an ancient symphony, where the cadence of daily life harmonized with the celestial dance of stars overhead. Ebla, once a beacon of knowledge and prosperity, carved its identity amidst the shifting sands of time. But, like all tales, Ebla's narrative is woven with threads of both triumph and tragedy. It beckons us to explore the labyrinth of its existence, to unravel the mysteries that lie beneath each weathered stone and faded inscription. Through the lens of discovery, we endeavor to breathe life into the artifacts, to give voice to the silent whispers of Ebla's archives, and to understand the resonance of its legacy across the annals of time. As the sun dawned on the fertile plains of ancient Syria, a modest settlement emerged, destined for greatness. Ebla, a city whose story unfolds like the pages of an ancient epic, began its journey to prominence in the 3rd millennium BCE. Ebla's roots trace back to humble beginnings, where a community settled and cultivated the land. In this cradle of civilization, the foundations of a remarkable society were laid. Ebla was one of the earliest kingdoms in Syria. Its remains constitute a tell located about 55 kilometers southwest of Aleppo near the village of Marduk. Ebla was an important center throughout the 3rd millennium BC and in the first half of the 2nd millennium. Its discovery proved the Levant was a center of ancient, centralized civilization equal to Egypt and Mesopotamia and ruled out the view that the latter two were the only important centers in the Near East during the early Bronze Age. The First Eblaite Kingdom has been described as the first recorded world power. A possible meaning of the word Ebla is white rock, referring to the limestone outcrop on which the city was built. Ebla was first settled around 3500 BC, its growth was supported by many satellite agricultural settlements. The city benefited from its role as an entrepot of growing international trade, which probably began with an increased demand for wool in Sumer. Archaeologists designate this early habitation period Marduk I. It ended around 3000 BC. Marduk I is followed by the First and Second Kingdoms era between about 3000 and 2000 BC, designated Marduk II. With time, Ebla began to ascend, fueled by a spirit of innovation and a thirst for knowledge. The city's strategic location along trade routes became a gateway to prosperity, and its people embraced a vision of greatness. Ebla maintained its prosperity through a vast trading network. Artifacts from Sumer, Cyprus, Egypt and as far as Afghanistan were recovered from the city's palaces. The kingdom had its own language, Eblaite, and the political organization of Ebla had features different from the Sumerian model. Women enjoyed a special status, and the queen had major influence in the state and religious affairs. The pantheon of gods was mainly North Semitic and included deities exclusive to Ebla. The city was excavated from 1964 and became famous for the Ebla tablets, an archive of about 20,000 cuneiform tablets found there, dated to around 2350 BC. Written in both Sumerian and Eblaite and using the cuneiform, The archive has allowed a better understanding of the Sumerian language and provided important information over the political organization and social customs of the mid-3rd millennium BC Levant. Ebla wasn't just a center of commerce, it was a melting pot of culture, where art, literature, and intellectual pursuits flourished. The city's archives, a treasure trove of knowledge, illuminated the minds of its citizens. Ebla's golden era saw the city radiate brilliance across the ancient world. Its influence extended far beyond its walls, leaving an indelible mark on the pages of history. The rise of Ebla was a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of its people. But as the winds of time shifted, the city would face trials that would test its very foundations. Ebla was not merely a city, it was a thriving hub of culture, where art, literature, and commerce intertwined to create a civilization unparalleled in its brilliance. The people of Ebla were artisans and visionaries, leaving behind a rich tapestry of art that reflected their intricate understanding of beauty and aesthetics. But it wasn't just about art, Ebla's prosperity was intricately tied to its role as a center for trade. The city's strategic location positioned it as a crossroads for merchants, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures. Ebla's cultural wealth wasn't confined to the physical realm. The city's greatest treasure lay in its archives, a treasure trove of clay tablets inscribed with a script that would unlock the secrets of the past. The grandeur of Ebla wasn't limited to its cultural and economic prowess. The city's architecture, with its imposing structures and intricate city planning, reflected a society that valued order and sophistication. Marduk II's periods shared the same culture. The population of Ebla during Marduk IIB-1, 2400 to 2300 BC, is estimated to have numbered around 40,000 in the capital, and over 200,000 people in the entire kingdom. The Eblaites of Marduk II were Semite speakers close to their northwestern Semitic neighbors, such as the Amorites. Giovanni Pettinato said the Eblaite language, one of the oldest attested Semitic languages, was a West Semitic language. Gelb and others said it was an East Semitic dialect closer to the Akkadian language. Academic consensus considers Eblaite an East Semitic language which exhibits both West and East Semitic features. Temples dedicated to gods, palaces that echoed with the whispers of diplomacy, Ebla was a city that aspired for greatness and achieved it in abundance. The kings of the First Kingdom were buried outside the city. The last 10 kings, ending with Ur-Kabdamu, were buried in Derib, while older kings were buried in a royal mausoleum located in Benas, and only one royal tomb dating to the First Kingdom was discovered in Ebla, Hypogeum G4. This First Kingdom tomb was probably built during the reign of the last king and might be an indication of Eblaite adoption of Mesopotamian traditions to bury the kings beneath their royal palaces. As the sun sets over the ancient ruins of Ebla, we stand in awe of the city's glory. Ebla's legacy is etched not only in the stones that remain but in the very fabric of civilizations that followed, forever influenced by the greatness of this ancient city. The echoes of Ebla's glory resonate through time, revealing a cultural and intellectual richness that continues to captivate historians and scholars alike. The regions under the direct control of the king that were economically vital for the capital are called the Kora by archaeologists. Regions under direct control of the king extended beyond the Kora, and it is difficult to determine the exact size of the kingdom and the Kora due to the constant military expansion of Ebla, which added new territories. Some of those were ruled directly while others were allowed to retain their own rulers as vassals. Generally, the Kora is the core region of Ebla that includes the economic hinterland supporting the capital. It includes the cities and villages where the king or his vizier had palaces, towns that included important sanctuaries of gods related to the royal institution, towns visited by the monarch during the different rituals he participated in, such as the renewal of royalty ritual, and other cities such as the ones where textiles were delivered. The Qora spans around 3,000 kilometers square. From west to east it includes the plains east of Jabal Zawiya, the Mak Swamp, Al-Has Mountain and Mount Shabbath. Areas directly on the borders of the Qora such as Al-Gab, Al-Rouge Plain and Al-Jabal have close cultural affinity with the Qora. The archive period, which is designated Marduk IIB-1, lasted from 2400 BC until 2300 BC. The end of the period is known as the First Destruction, mainly referring to the destruction of the royal palace, called Palace G, and built over the earlier G2, and much of the Acropolis. During the archive period, Ebla had political and military dominance over the other Syrian city-states of northern and eastern Syria, which are mentioned in the archives. Most of the tablets, which date from that period, are about economic matters but also include royal letters and diplomatic documents. At its greatest extent, Ebla controlled an area roughly half the size of modern Syria, from Ur-Sa'am in the north, to the area around Damascus in the south, and from Phoenicia and the coastal mountains in the west to Hadu in the east. Large parts of the kingdom were under the direct control of the king and were administered by governors, the rest consisted of vassal kingdoms. One of the most important of these vassals was Armi, which is the city most often mentioned in the Ebla tablets. Ebla had more than 60 vassal kingdoms and city-states including Hazoan, Burman, Emar, Halabatu and Salbatu. The vizier was the king's chief official. The holder of the office possessed great authority. The most powerful vizier was Ibrahim, who campaigned against Abarsal during the term of his predecessor Arukam. Ibrahim held office for 18 years with warfare occurring in all but 1 year. During the reign of Izar-Damu, Ebla continued the war against Mari, which defeated Ebla's ally Nagar, blocking trade routes between Ebla and southern Mesopotamia via Upper Mesopotamia. Ebla conducted regular military campaigns against rebellious vassals, including several attacks on Armi, and a campaign against the southern region of Ibial, close to Katna. In order to settle the war with Mari, Izar-Damu allied with Nagar and Kish. Some scholars have suggested that the Kish in question was not the Mesopotamian city but rather a town near Nagar in the Khabar area. The campaign was headed by the Eblaite vizier Ibbi-Sipish, who led the combined armies to victory in a battle near Turka. The alliance also attacked Armi and occupied it, leaving Ibbi-Sipish's son Enzi-Malik as governor. Ebla suffered its first destruction a few years after the campaign, probably following Izar-Damu's death. These clay tablets, etched with intricate writings, not only documented the daily lives of the Eblites but also unveiled a complex network of trade and diplomacy. Artisans in Ebla crafted exquisite artifacts, showcasing a sophisticated aesthetic sense. Their influence can be seen in the artistic expressions of subsequent civilizations. As Ebla succumbed to the passage of time, its legacy lived on in the rise of other great civilizations in the ancient Near East. From the Hittites to the Canaanites, echoes of Ebla's achievements reverberated through the corridors of history. In the modern era, dedicated scholars and archaeologists tirelessly work to unravel the mysteries of Ebla. Their efforts bridged the gap between our present and this ancient civilization, ensuring that the legacy of Ebla remains a vibrant part of our shared human narrative. Ebla's first kingdom is an example of early Syrian centralized states, and is considered one of the earliest empires by scholars, such as Samuel Feiner, and Karl Mohr, who consider it the first recorded world power. Ebla's discovery changed the former view of Syria's history as a bridge between Mesopotamia and Egypt. It proved the region was a center of civilization in its own right. As a result of the Syrian civil war, excavations of Ebla stopped in March 2011. By 2013, it was under control of an opposition armed group called Arrows of the Right, who took advantage of its elevated location to use it as an observation point to watch for incoming government air attacks, as well as attempting to protect the site from looting. Many tunnels were dug and a crypt full of human remains was discovered. The remains were scattered and discarded by the robbers, who hoped to find jewelry and other precious artifacts. Besides excavations by rebels, nearby villagers also began digging at the site with the aim of finding and looting artifacts. Some villagers removed carloads of soil suitable for making ceramic liners for bread baking ovens from the tunnels. The site was captured by the Syrian armed forces on January 30, 2020 during the 5th Northwestern Syria Offensive, along with surrounding villages. As the sun sets over the ancient ruins of Ebla, we are left with a profound appreciation for the enduring legacy of a civilization that once thrived in this very place. Through the passage of time, Ebla's whispers continue to shape our understanding of the past, inviting us to reflect on the interconnectedness of human history. In the silence of these stones lies a profound legacy, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the fleeting nature of empires. Ebla, a name lost in the folds of time, invites us to contemplate the cyclical nature of history. The words etched on the clay tablets, the fragments of pottery, and the echoes of Ebla's markets, they all tell a story of a people who thrived, loved, and faced challenges, much like our own. As we bid farewell to the ghosts of Ebla, let us carry forward the lessons of history. May we cherish the beauty of cultures that came before us, learn from their triumphs and tribulations, and strive to build a future rooted in understanding and unity. In the heart of time, where the past meets the present, Ebla's whispers endure, a timeless reminder that the stories of humanity are written not only in stone but in the collective memory of those who dare to listen.